Well, damn, that was quick. It seems like I was just doing a video talking about the Seahawks releasing Richard Sherman, and it was the end of the Legion of Boom era in Seattle, and wondering where he was going to end up at his next destination. That was quick. That was really damn quick. It didn't take very long for him to find a new NFL home. We now know that Richard Sherman is going to be playing for the San Francisco 49ers in 2018 for a reported deal that's worth 3 years and up to $39 million, which is the key phrasing there, up to. And my simple reaction to this signing, this move by John Lynch and the San Francisco 49ers is this is brilliant. This is genius. This is one of these so obvious that you absolutely must have to do it. Really, other than the money you might dish out in that first year, relatively low risk and potentially incredibly high reward. It's not often. I know Richard Sherman is in his late 20s coming off of a torn Achilles, but it is not often that you get an elite shutdown man cover corner come available in free agency like this, because teams typically will try to lock that guy up. They may try to trade him, but to be able to get him in free agency like this before the free agency period has technically even started, is something. And then to be able to get a guy who is familiar with the division, so he's faced Arizona twice a year. He's practiced against the Seahawks for years. He's played against the Rams twice a year for several years. He knows your team. He's played against them twice a year. To be able to get a guy like this with all that divisional familiarity who will have a bit of a chip on his shoulder, which is great for a guy like Richard Sherman because he's always been a chip on his shoulder type of guy. Now he's got an even bigger one because he could be pissed off about the Seahawks after all he did for that organization and all that he was a part of. They just threw him out like yesterday's trash. And yes, maybe they had to, but that's the way he can look at it and rationalize it in his mind. And he's going to be hungry and he's going to be ready to roll, even coming off of the torn Achilles. And even for a guy like Sherman, it was never like his game was about speed, quickness, explosiveness anyways, so that torn Achilles won't be as much of a detriment to him potentially recovering from it and coming back and playing off of it than other guys would. And when you look at this from a 49ers standpoint, here's a chance with one of your biggest needs on the defensive side of the ball. You have filled it with one of the best players in the National Football League. Again, that opportunity does not come along every day. Now you can sit there going with that 9th overall pick in the 2018 draft. You have flexibility. You have options in terms of what you can do. It opens up your possibilities. And when you look at this financially, a $5 million signing bonus reportedly, another $2 million in actual salary, so effectively $7 million of truly guaranteed money. And then based off of other playing time incentives and potentially Pro Bowl or All-Pro, depending on how it's really written into the contract, it sounds like the first year could potentially be worth up to $13 million. Worst case scenario, he doesn't come back and play well, and you risk $9 or $10 million over the course of 1 year to swing at a guy who's been an All-Pro, multiple-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion. A guy that could come and be a leader in your locker room, that could be an influence on the other defensive backs in the meeting rooms. Where's the risk here? It is all potential reward and high upside reward at that. You have to give John Lynch credit for making this move. And we can sit there and say, yeah, well, if we were in that same position, we would have done the same damn thing. Well, maybe, maybe not. But John Lynch ultimately was in that position. This is ultimately the move he made. In reality, this probably is, in terms of the guaranteed money, a 1-year deal. But if Richard Sherman comes back and he plays at a high level like we've known him to do in the past, then this is an absolute bargain. And even if he takes a small step back from what he's been in the past, this is still a pretty good financial deal for the team. A really good financial deal for the team, without the stink of having to lock him up into a shit ton of long-term money. It really is, in a way, even though you say 3 years up to $39 million, it is mostly a 1-year prove-it deal for Richard Sherman and the 49ers, with them having the flexibility and the knowledge of knowing that if Richard Sherman comes back and plays really well, that they've got him locked up for 2 more years at a reasonable cap figure for an elite shutdown number 1 cover corner. And for Richard Sherman, again, this is a chance to play on a team in a division that he's familiar with, This is a chance for him to play on a team that is clearly on the come-up. This is a chance for him to get some revenge twice a year against his old team, the Seahawks. This is one of these win-win-win for both parties, just freaking do it type of deals. To me, this is one of the single best moves we will see all offseason long. To be able to get a guy like Richard Sherman at this price tag, with really only having to invest 1 year of guaranteed money, and even that 1 year of guaranteed money was not that massive, opportunity strikes, you got to go for gold, and that's what the 49ers did here. I love this move. I absolutely love this move. And this is the type of move that will put the 49ers in the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, playoffs in 2018.